Well, hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's Building Power. I am your host, Zakiya Jabbar, and I am joined today by Brian Walker. He is the husband of Claudia Walker, who we initially was going to have on the program today to tell us a little bit more about the HBCU Prep School, which is a publishing company that centers Black voices and Black joy in children's books. That's so important, and I'm really excited to kind of have this conversation with you, Brian. Just if you can, just kind of like introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit more about yourself and also your wife, if you'd like.
Definitely. Well, first off, thank you for having us. We're extremely excited to be here. You are definitely one of the podcasts that we listen to, and so when we started this journey, you were one of the ones on my list. I was like, oh, I want to be a part of it. So excited to be here. I really hope that we can arrange it properly for Claudia to be here in the future too.
Sure.
Claudia is definitely the visionary behind us. I help out as much as we can. We work together to create this great company called HBCU Prep School, which is a publishing company. And we've started off with Claudia's first book, which is the ABCs of HBCUs. So it's all about historical Black colleges, Black Greek organizations, the fraternities, sororities, battle of the bands, and the overall experience. It's set up in a story in a children's book format through poetry. So it's great for literacy, goes through all the letters, but it's just great knowledge. So we're so excited about it.
Yeah, I'm actually excited about that as well. Did you both attend HBCUs?
We didn't. So we have different stories, which is really interesting. And for my wife, she has great stories about her time at Spelman. She is an alum of Spelman.
All right.
Loved her time there. We're both from California, and she had a great experience there. But we grew up in different areas. And where I grew up at, HBCUs weren't talked of as positive as they should have been to me. So I actually was somewhat talked out of it. So, yeah, and it's something I'll never forget, but especially when definitely my wife talks about it, but when I started to visit friends that were HBCUs, I had a cousin who went, HBCU, other family did. And when I saw them going like, man, this would have maneuvered a little easier for me. And these people look like me,
Exactly.
So my part in this dream is to make sure that people have the information. I'm not saying you can't go to another great school. They call them PWIs, right?
Right, PWIs. Yep.
Yeah, and there's opportunity in every school. Education is great, but there's something special about being around our people, and the results that those HBCUs are creating are real. And they talk about it in the book.
That's right. Well, yeah, let's kind of hop in, I guess, to talk a little bit more about the book. I think we have like some pictures and maybe a press release. Maybe we can get that pulled up while we're talking. I'm excited about this. I have children. I actually live in the DC area, so we're surrounded by several HBCUs. Of course, DC, the Mecca, HU, as they say, Howard University. And we're also not very far from Baltimore, which is also surrounded by a number of HBCUs. You have Coppin State University that's in Baltimore, and Morgan State that's in Baltimore. And a couple of my friends are actually graduates of both like Howard and Morgan. And so I have a son who is entering high school this year. In fact, when I'm done with this broadcast, I'll be going to attend his 8th grade graduation.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So we are already like talking about college. We're also talking about trades because that is something that I have been looking into for him because the trades, there is a need there and the pay, right, is good. A lot of people don't know. Like they feel a lot of people like try to talk their kids out of the trade. Like, oh, you don't want to do that. You know, you
There's
want to
money.
have it.
There's money
No,
there.
but yeah, because
Mhm.
like there's such a need in all of the trades. And I think like having a trade is actually good. I've
Yeah.
actually told my son, like, even if you want to go to a 4-year university, fine, we'll figure it out. We'll make that happen. And I'm actually encouraging an HBCU because we're surrounded by HBCUs. But also, if he wants to go to an HBCU in the South, I grew up in Alabama. There's plenty of
Okay.
HBCUs. Alabama State University, as you know, is an HBCU. You got Alabama A&M, which is in
Right.
northern Alabama, and I have family that have attended both. You also have Miles College in Birmingham.
Correct.
So, I'm definitely encouraging an HBCU route for my son, but also, right, going into the skilled trade through maybe an apprenticeship or a journeyman or some kind of way to get some actually hands-on skills, because I feel like, going into the next century, people still need to know carpentry. People still need to know plumbing. Like we're always going to need those things. People don't think about that, but like, I don't know what to do. Like I'm calling a plumber.
Well, and there's two areas I would say on that. One, the first one is I know that when I'm doing work on my home and I'm doing different things like that, I love when the person looks like me. There is a level of trust there. I hate to say it, but
Right.
there is, and I'm all about keeping that money in our community.
That's
So
right.
I will go out of my way to find somebody that looks at me to do a task just because we do not do a good job of circulating our dollar. And I don't want to go down that route with statistics like
Sure.
that, but our circulation of the black dollar is poor, and we need to
Yeah.
do a better job of it. And finding ways to find, to funnel that dollar so it stays in our hands a little bit more, and that's a big lesson that they should be teaching in schools, by the way. But yeah,
Right. No, they don't teach nothing like that. And you're absolutely right. I have been quote unquote conscious for a little over a decade now, and I actually started to celebrate Kwanzaa, the actual principles of Kwanzaa. And one of the principles is cooperative economics.
of
And
course.
before moving to the DC region, I lived in Ohio, and it was a little harder to circulate dollars in Dayton. I lived in Dayton because there weren't as many Black-owned businesses in every single sort of industry that I might have needed to pay for somebody to come and do something, right?
Right.
However, living in this DC, Baltimore, DMV region, there is no excuse not to support a Black-owned business. There are Black-owned businesses everywhere in every single industry, literally. The DC used to be Chocolate City, is more like Latte City now
Right.
because of gentrification. Y'all in Oakland, y'all know what they
It's happening
gentrification
all over.
is happening everywhere. So so thankfully there are Black-owned businesses in just about every industry around here, and so I haven't like documented it, and that actually may be something I should do, is like track. But I can think about, like, for me as a woman, I like all the personal services I get, hair, nails, esthetician, like personal services. Everybody's Black. My doctor, dentist, you know what I mean, for the family. So it's easy, you know what I mean, to like you said, circulate those dollars and make sure that our communities are benefiting from our dollars.
Well, and the one thing I'll add to that too is, and this was just recently, I had purchased a commuter car, and I made sure that I wanted to make sure that commission went to somebody that was Black, because it does make a difference. So
Yeah.
I called around, so I didn't have a strategy, so I just called a couple of dealerships, like, what's the name of the Black guy, this Black sales guy, and then they gave me some names, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna look for them when I come in. So I think that all makes a difference.
It does. That's funny you say that, because the last car I bought, actually the last two cars that I bought, there were Black salesmen. That's
Yeah,
how they got the commission. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up. And I didn't even think about that. Again, the last car I bought was actually here in the DMV, and everybody was Black in that dealership.
yeah,
So, because I mean, literally
yeah.
the manager, it was like everybody, and it's like, and that's actually what I like about this region. And one of the reasons why I wanted to move here, because when I first started traveling to DC, I was just like in shock. I had never been here before. My husband is from here, but like I started to come here like with him, and then I was also coming here for work before we moved back here. And I was just shocked and amazed at amount of Black people here, but not just that, but amount of Black people who were doing well. You know what I mean? for themselves, you
It
know,
makes a
who,
difference. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? So I was just, I love the whole vibe. Love the whole vibe.
So I'm from a smaller city in California, Salinas, California. Still love my town. But it is a big difference. Oakland, where I live now. And you know, I remember when I was younger, when I first was traveling to Atlanta and seeing,
Right. Atlanta's another
the
place that's like
greatness.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the big difference was seeing Black people not just in worker and support roles, but seeing them
Hmm.
be the managers, seeing them be the owners. It makes a big difference. And just to segue back to HBCUs, that's
Yes.
one of the biggest opportunities. And, when I look at HBCUs, they're creating leaders. My favorite letter is J, right? Because J talks about the judges. 80% of Black judges come from HBCUs.
I
That's
didn't know that.
I didn't either. I'm being honest.
Wow.
My wife, when she, did the book and, we're looking at it, I learned a lot from this children's book, and
Hmm.
that whenever I talk to people, that's the page I reference first. Cause I'm like, look at this. Because to me, one thing and I don't like giving Trump credit ever, but Trump put a whole lot of his conservative judges in place. Why? Because that matters. And what
Yeah.
we do is we need Black judges, judges that are going to understand, judges that are not going to be biased, judges that aren't afraid of young Black men, judges that don't assume that Black women are super powerful, super strength, which
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
problem that we have. And so by having Black judges in those roles, it makes a difference. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I want every single Black, judge to be Black, but I think that when they're in the room, it makes a difference. I work in HR, and it does make a difference. I've been on hiring panels, and sometimes I'm like, huh? No, I didn't get that from the interview. What do you mean? And
I
those,
know that's right. Glad you was on that panel.
you
Yeah.
know, and I enjoy speaking up, going, no, let's think about that again, or let's look at that again. Or there have been some times where I'm like, okay, this isn't the place for me to be at. I need to be somewhere else, because the consensus is a different thought process than what it should be. So I think all those things come into play. But back on the book, yeah, there's so many great facts about it. 50% of our doctors, 50% of our dentists come from HBC.
Wow.
So they're producing leaders for us. And I know you referenced, Howard with, our vice president, coming out that direction. And I actually got into a little bit of a little danger zone because, there's a HU controversy out there. So I don't want to get into that. But
So funny.
so we have a lot of fun with it.
Man, no, we gonna talk. Hold on, we're gonna talk about that. Because listen, I live in the DC region. People be going crazy about Howard. Hate you, I had a bunch of friends. There's a book. Like just they are crazy about Howard. Like those Howard graduates are something else. They really are. This is for the audience. Check out the book. This is the book, The ABCs of HBCUs. There go my cousin here in the chat, like HU. He used to work there actually. My cousin. um, so this is the book, everybody. We also want to maybe put in a link to the book where people can actually go purchase it. Hopefully, we're not going to use it. I'm like not really big on Amazon. If y'all have the book like a personal link where people can actually buy it, maybe directly from the publisher or directly from you, I prefer to use that. Versus
we self-publish it. We self-publish it ourselves.
Okay.
And so it goes right to our link. I can tell you, for anybody that's an entrepreneur out there, we use Shopify. It's
Okay.
worked out great. So my wife created the website on our own and made it happen. It looks excellent and professional. Once you go to the website, you're able to see the book. You're also able to see.
We're going to put the website in the chat for everybody in just a minute.
Please
Yeah,
do.
keep
And
going.
we added stickers. So now we have some HBCU stickers that were inspired by the book. In addition to that, we have some other great products coming out too, which we'll talk about in a moment. But what I do want to say about the book is not only was it written by my wife, who's an alum of Spelman, but all the visuals and graphics from the book were done by Jessica, who's also from Spelman, another Spelman grad. So we're just really excited about that. They've been a great duo.
That HBCU culture, y'all stick together, man. Like I love it. There's a specific culture of that I have noticed because I also did not attend an HBCU. Unfortunately, I attended a PWI, but I just love like the culture, even like, the fraternities and sororities,
Yeah.
right? There's a specific culture of sticking together, making sure that you are putting money or like connecting people to where they can get some support. I love that. I love that.
Well, I'm
So
glad
we
you
did
brought up.
put the link in the chat for everybody, and maybe
Oh,
we can
thank you.
pull up the website so people can see it. We can also like pull it up and
Yeah.
like just go through it or whatever. But yeah, tell us more about those products, those other products that you guys have coming out.
Yeah, before I jump to that, you touched on the Black Greek organizations. Let me shout them
Yes,
out.
yes, go ahead.
First of all, I have to thank them because they have been great to us. So when I'm always thinking of marketing and thinking of sales, and so
Right.
I knew like obviously Black parents are our market, and we've gotten love from all types of parents, allies too, who've said no, this needs to be in my classroom. This needs to be so. Educators have been great. We also knew that the Black alums of HBCUs would be excellent for us, but the Black Greeks have come through strong. They have come
Wow.
through so strong for us at every school. And my wife has done some readings for some chapters. There were a lot of literacy programs with a lot of the Black Greek organizations. I don't want to start shouting them out because if I miss one, I know I'll get in trouble.
Oh yeah, I know how that is.
I try to walk that safe line. That's just me. I try to avoid the controversies, but it's been excellent. So every organization of the Divine Nine is represented in the book. So we
Wow.
cover them on each page. So that does open it up. So this isn't a book just for if you went to an HBCU. It's for everyone. It's been excellent for us too. So I want to answer your question. I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw
Yeah,
that in
yeah,
there
yeah.
because
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
they have been great to us. We are working on a couple other projects. We have a coloring book and an activity book coming out that will support this
Wow.
book. And we just did a cover launch of my wife's new book, which is the ABCs of Black Wall Street.
Oh
So
wow.
yes, we are extremely excited about it. And obviously right now Black Wall Street is a big talking point.
It
Through
is.
a number of areas. I'll be honest to you, I didn't know about it. I didn't learn about it in school. I
I
found out it from an
didn't learn about it in school. I found out about it just through conscious community, all that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I found out I was watching. There's a show on HBO, and it was a backdrop in the show, something that went on. I'm like, wait, what is this? And I started researching it, and I was talking to my wife about it. She was like, yeah, you don't know about this. Obviously, she went to the HBCU, so she knew all about it. We started talking about it, and it became something important. And what I like of what she's doing is she's focusing on we can't. And I know there's a lot of talk about CRT, going on right now too. But what she's really focusing on is the greatness of Black Wall Street, because we need to know our greatness. We need to know how great this is. We're so quick to put on a jersey, and I shout out to my Raiders, but we're quick to put on a jersey and put on a team. But you know what? We have some greatness in us, in our culture. We need to put that greatness on. And Black Wall Street was amazing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the only one. I know we're talking about Tulsa.
Exactly. It's not that I was just about to point that out. It was
Right.
not the only one. Raleigh Durham had a Black Wall
Yes.
Street. Baltimore,
Yes.
obviously DC. Like there were Black Wall Streets all over the
Yeah.
country.
And it was a tragedy what happened. The book doesn't talk about the tragedy. The book talks about the greatness, which I think is important too. If you follow the link that they put up, you can see a great trailer that we created for the book, for the launch of the cover, and it'll be out soon. And we're just really excited about it. It follows. It's the same duo, and it follows the same theatrics that we have within the first book. This looks excellent. Well, we're really making sure that in all areas we're pushing the highest level of professionalism. We don't want people to look at it and say, "Oh, it's a self-published book." We want them to know that it's a great book, plain and simple. And we're just excited about it. We're trying to connect to as many educators as possible because we think that's a great way to get into the classroom so people can see it, as they're growing up. Because I do know that the history that I've taught in school, it's missing a lot, and it doesn't have, other than our pain, it doesn't have our greatness outside of sports and entertainers. And I do love entertainment. I do love sports. But I think it's critical to tell us that we had entrepreneurs, that we had great Black doctors. There's so many positive things that we have contributed to this country, to the world, that are just being ignored. And sometimes I question why it's being ignored, although I probably know the answer. But the point is, the point is that we need to make sure we teach that to our children so they can walk with their head up and know that, hey, I can achieve that. That's something I can do.
Have you all been able to have conversations with school districts yet?
We're starting that now. Some school districts have reached out, and we're following the processes. I'd love for them to follow the link, go through the info, and I can work with them to get it going. We just did a great partnership with the Oakland Unified School District. We're discussing with some others about getting it out there too. Oh, and someone in the chat just said they can't hear us. Uh-oh.
Oh, I think, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, they should be able to hear me.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
not sure what really happened.
Just making
That's
sure.
weird. Yeah.
There's some glitches in the world.
Oh yeah. That's always an issue sometimes. Anyway, is there anything else that you'd like for the audience to know about this project, about what's happening with this book?
You know, my wife Claudia, she's an educator.
I did not know that. So she is a teacher.
She's a teacher and an administrator. She was a principal of a school, of a very high performing school, and she wanted to do more. And she tried a few different other avenues, and she's doing an excellent work at the school that she's at. She's doing a very special program. We're talking about trades. She's in charge of a program that does that. Once they go through school, they either go into an early college and start taking junior college classes to contribute to their education, or on the other side, what they do is they work on getting an internship. So almost like learning some level of a trade. But she wanted to do even more for the Black community. So she's trying to, put out, more things where children, like our beautiful children, can see themselves in what's out there. We have 3 children, a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And we try to get them involved in the family business. And we want them to see themselves in books, in articles that are out there too.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you were able to join us today. I'm excited about this book. I actually plan on purchasing it for myself because I do have 2 children. 14. There'll be 14 and 7 this summer, actually. So I'm looking forward to reading more about this. Certainly plan on keeping in touch with you guys. You have my email if there's anything else that you guys would like to share in terms of materials. I know you're developing, like you said, the activity book and all of that. Keep us posted on all of that, and we can also share out on our social media channels as well. Do you guys have social media? Would you like to share that if you have social media?
We do. I think Nisha has our Instagram link. It is. We have some really. It's all HBCU prep school. To pull us right up. We actually
HBCU prep school. That is your like @ sign. Okay.
Yeah. And we do some fun stuff. Obviously we also got an endorsement by Anthony Anderson. But we've had some other really, really cool posts that my wife has done. And we try to keep up on things that have to do with education and related to HBCU and just about the Black culture. So follow us on Instagram. Definitely check out the website. Just some great things. And I'm really excited to be here. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you were able to join us today. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Claudia some other time. No, we mixed up our times on that, but I'm so glad that you were able to fill in for her today. Thank you so much for joining us. We have dropped all of the links in the chat to the website. Now we've dropped the link to your Instagram page, and so people can follow you all there. And we also dropped the link where people can actually go directly to your site to purchase the book. Thank you for joining us today, Brian.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. All right, bye-bye.
All right.